now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
Delivering these days can be frustrating. You can either wait forever or pay insane prices to get it faster. Even then, you still have no idea when it'll reach its destination. That's where Miracle Brokers comes in. We are flexible, reliable, and most importantly, fast. Whether you need household relocation, delivery services, full custom brokerage, overseas consolidation, commercial moving, packing materials, overseas consolidation, or inter-island moving, we offer exceptional logistics services all around the world that suits your individual needs. Just choose when, where, and what your delivery will be. You can even get it delivered same day. What's more, we'll choose the best courier for you based on your delivery requirements. This means less waiting and less hassle for you. Because we don't just say we care, this and much more make us a great option for you. Discover our shipping solutions and more at miraclebrokers.com today.
Soft, fresh breezes of verdant trees so fair, with the Creator's glory reflected everywhere.
All sea of palest emerald, merging to darkest blue.
Whenever my thoughts fly onward, I always think of you.
In verdant island set,
In blue Caribbean sea, I'm coming very soon.
oh beauty smile to thee. Although I wander far,
My heart enshrines thee at home. There came an hours I cannot thee forget.
Good morning, everyone. I think you can hear me, but just a second. Looks like for some reason you cannot quite see me yet. So let us see what is going on. Happy Fab Friday. Beautiful August the 21st, folks. Can you believe that the month of August is almost done? All right, we got to start at this camera. Let us see what's going on here. But I am absolutely tickled pink. This has been a fabulous month. And as far as I'm concerned, every single day is fabulous once you are alive and well. So who can complain? We've got a bit of news that we're going to be updating you guys on this morning on the political front. So let us get that underway. I kind of feel like I'm doing a podcast with no video. There we go. Looks like the video is finally kicking in. There are a number of little factors that we got going on here in order for you to be able to see video, hear audio. So sometimes it takes a minute, but thank you guys so much for your patience. So who is having a Fab Friday today? There's a couple videos I'm going to be sharing with you guys throughout today's show, including one from Mr. Alric Lindsay. You know, I told you guys that he had a back to school drive over the weekend. So we're going to get an update on how that went. And we got a little bit of good news from Flow. They've been doing a superhero campaign, really honoring people who are superheroes in the eyes of others. I think this is a wonderful campaign, actually. And in fact, they've chosen, now I don't think it is, I don't think that it's just mothers, but the first two who have won have been mothers. So, I mean, listen, for most people, their moms are definitely their superheroes, right? We live in a community where a lot of single mothers have done miraculous things with children, by and large, on their own. And so I'm not surprised that the first two picked thus far were mothers. And in fact, one of them I know, Miss Kayaso. And, you know, I don't know too many details about her situation personally, but I do know her son, Noel. And Noel's involved in the community, and he does a lot of community affairs. And I think when you raise children right, that's the type of people they turn out to be. They turn out to be people who care about what's happening in their country and who definitely want to see us all living in a better world. So Evelyn, good morning. Are you having a Fab Friday? We have got Barbara, who's joining us from Paris. Barbara, do you speak any French? I didn't really ask you this the other day, but I know you live in Paris, but I'm kind of curious as to how much French you speak. Is it easy to live in a place like Paris and not speak the language? How much of it do you actually pick up, I wonder? Just some curious points. Some countries are easier because they may have like a, you know, English-speaking community that a lot of people are very much a part of. And then other countries, it's like, you better integrate, baby, because that's what it is. So Joy from Texas, good morning. Now, I had been streaming on my personal page and on the Facebook page. And this morning, I'm not streaming on the personal page because what I realized was happening is there are people who were joining that stream, not really intentionally. They thought they were joining the CMR stream, right? So what ends up happening is it pulls viewers away from this stream. And I don't intend to do that for sure. So I was just kind of trying it out on my personal page, and I can kind of see where it gets confusing because I think what Facebook does is they just have it pop up on your screen. And if you're not really paying close attention, you don't realize that it's actually my personal Facebook account. So yes, a lot of you are personal friends with me on Facebook. And in fact, I have two Facebook accounts because sometimes I get in a little bit of trouble with Facebook. Sometimes things get naughty and Facebook blocks my personal account. And in fact, there are times when they block my personal account because of something on CMR, which is like, why? So I do have two accounts. One is more active than the other one because one is kind of like my backup account. And then there are other administrators for the page on Facebook. who post content and stuff as well. So Lizette, good morning to you, my dear. Are you having a Fab Friday? How about Morna? Thank you. And you have an awesome and blessed weekend as well. Carol and Irvin, you should be seeing me now. Buenos dias, Elizabeth. How are you? There you are, Jake. I saw you yesterday over my personal page. Paul, thank you for the belated birthday greetings. And John is with us. And Paul says, early Friday tea, Jake. Yes, let's get it. So listen, folks, in case you missed it, yesterday afternoon, Chalixa, good morning, beautiful. You may have not realized, I'm trying to find my phone, by the way. Did I remember? Why is Alexa talking to me? Alexa, stop. I don't even know what you're talking about over there. Alexa just sometimes, oh, I think she heard, what name did I just pronounce? I said, Chalixa. And she probably thought I said, Alexa. She's going off on a tyrant. Anyway, I don't have my phone on me. I need to grab my phone because sometimes I get some information on my phone during the show. But yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning. So yesterday afternoon, we heard this rumor in circulation. Now there's a couple rumors going around, but there was this one that was in heavy circulation about the fact that the government, certain members of the government had been in talks with certain members of the opposition in hopes of having some kind of a coup and throwing over Alden's unity government. And so we've been hearing the rumor all day. As rumors go, you have no way of proving a rumor until it happens, right? And sometimes what ends up happening is you preempt something happening because people think, oh, right, well, maybe people are not really in favor of this. And so we better pull back, even if it was like at the initial stages of let's talk about what's going on here. So the rumor was that certain members of the government who had voted no for the domestic partnership bill, that this had caused some sort of rift between them and other members like Alden and Joey and so on, who had voted yes for the bill. So obviously, when the government brings a bill, they are by and large, a supporter of that bill. Now, the interesting thing about this, and I do find it very, very interesting, is I'm going to show you guys a video clip from Juliana O'Connor Connolly, who made a statement yesterday about this whole situation. And she basically said in that statement that she had asked for permission to vote her conscience. And I'm thinking, who the hell needs permission to vote their conscience? But what's even more interesting about that statement is we've seen other instances in the past where members of the government have voted a particular way, and then they say, I voted this way, not because I wanted to vote this way, but because the government was voting this way. Okay. Say what? Yes. So there have been times when they have done certain things and they voted, in certain means or certain ways. And according to them, they were simply toting the line. I can't remember offhand some of those at the moment, but they may come to me during the show. I know Tara, I remember there was something that Tara voted on because I distinctly remember her saying that yes, she was voting this way because she was part of the government and the government was voting this way. And so therefore, it's almost like she had no choice, and they call it collective responsibility. and they talked about, how they've got to vote collectively. Now, obviously, on this particular topic, there is no such thing as collective responsibility because, as Juliana O'Connor Conley confirmed, she quote unquote voted her conscience. So, what would she be voting all these other times? Are they just voting with the government because the government says to vote this particular way? I am a little confused. Some of these politicians do confuse me with their flip-flopping and their back and forth. So she issued a statement late yesterday to basically say that she has no intentions of pulling rank with the government. She will be continuing to work with Alden's government. Now, I want to show you guys her video, and then we're going to have a little chat about this further in terms of what transpired. Let me just find her video here. 1 second. We just want to have a look. So that was a bit of what happened yesterday in terms of breaking news. Here we go. So she issued this statement later on in the day. And basically in this statement, she affirms her support of the government and that she will not be pulling any kind of stunts right now in terms of separating the government. So this rumor was really in wide circulation, let me tell you. I know for sure that we didn't have it first. It was just out there. And we decided that, well, because CMR is in the news of the business of news, sometimes we don't always have it confirmed. But, Jay, there was actually not a show last night. Can I tell you? I have been busy in the evenings catching up with a lot of happenings. Sometimes I need to get out there and get my ear to the ground. And that means socializing with people, going to dinners, hearing what's going on. After a couple of drinks, we're all talking. And hello, that's how I bring you the good stuff. So good morning, Sophia. Aw, Irvlyn says, what happened to you last night, man? Irvlyn missed me. I'm sorry, Irvlyn. I was just saying that, yes, I got to plan these events a little bit better, but I was out catching news, as we say. Now, some news I catch, I can't repeat, because trust me, sometimes the news be deep in the trenches, and it's not yet for public consumption, or it is for historical viewpoints. So it gives me a history on certain individuals. You would be surprised, folks, some of the criminals that we have roving around in the Cayman Islands trying to pretend like they are big shots. But let's get to that in a second. Let's go ahead and have a look at this video. Again, this is Minister of Education, Juliana O'Connor Conley, discussing why she is not going to be breaking up with the government. So give me 1 second. I want you to see this full screen so that I can grab my phone in the meantime. Okay, here we go.
Good evening, Cayman Islands. Those of you who have known me for the past 24 plus years in my political life know that I'm not a woman who dwells in the economy of lies or be economic with the truth. I told my people back in 1996 that if they elected me and it was a choice, that I would be a voice for the people.
She took them off. Look at her bed.
That is what I come to you, the beloved people of Cayman Islands, with today. I sought and obtained permission to vote my conscience with the domestic partnership law, and that I did. It is no secret what my position has been. I voted against the bill. I in no way, form, fashion, or shape voted against the honorable premier of this country or my colleagues in government. I love my country too much to play political games.
Put on some other shorts.
Irrespective of what has been issued in various corners in Cayman today, I want it to be known absolutely that I am still an integral part of the government, the United Coalition government. I have no intentions whatsoever to do otherwise. There is an upcoming election. The people will choose. So I would ask you to continue to pray for this country, because not only did he found these beautiful Cayman Islands upon his almighty arms, but it is he who sustains and keep me. And as a child of God, I do not dwell in lies, nor do I covet or appreciate it. God bless these wonderful Cayman Islands.
All right, folks. Give me 1 second here. So that was the minister's comments. And okay, folks, thank you so much for watching that brief statement from the minister. So she did share that, yes, she voted differently from the government. However, she wanted to make it clear that her vote was not an indictment, in her opinion, on the overall government, nor was she voting against her colleagues or her premier. She was simply voting her conscience. And like I said before, it is quite interesting that there are times when they're permitted to vote their conscience, and there are times when they tell us that they have to toe the party line. I'm not sure, other than on this particular topic, when I've seen them not vote with the government. So this topic seems to be a divisive one. I do need to adjust my lighting just a little bit. There we go. So it's strange. I don't pretend to understand what these people are doing here, but it is what it is, right? So Jake says, Sandy, you're working out. You made me laugh and fall off my treadmill. Jake, please do not fall off your treadmill, because we will not be responsible for any of your injuries that you might obtain falling off the treadmill. So yes, they're denying it. The Speaker of the House has decided that he is coming back from his self-imposed exile, temporary exile, where he claimed that after he assaulted a woman, he was going to be taking some time off. So he got a vacation and continued to get pay on the people's dime. And he claims that he was going to be taking this leave of absence, was what he called it. I'm calling it a vacation because it was paid and everything else. So he was going to be taking this leave of absence in order to get his head right. Most of us expected this leave of absence to last until his trial was over, at least, right? Clearly, that was not the intention, because he is back and he has indicated that for the next sitting of the LA, he will be taking his place back from, what's her name? From Barbara Connolly. And so, sorry, Barbara, but the Mac attack is back. And a lot of people were disappointed to hear this, because they're thinking, well, first of all, what was the point of him taking a sabbatical or leave of absence, or whatever he's going to call it, which Ezra Miller had argued was completely unconstitutional. Ezra is like, what basis in the Constitution is there for him to even take this leave of absence? There's no such thing defined in the Constitution. So it was illegal to take it. And according to Ezra Miller, who does know the Constitution quite well, and now we have him back in full force. So we know that his previous deputy, which would have been Bernie Bush, has stepped down. He had resigned, he said, in a matter of principle. And now Barbara Connolly had stepped in as deputy speaker. And when what happened with the devices? I'm a little bit lost on the conversation here with Irvlyn and Jake. So yeah, so at the end of the day, um, he's back. And I think that this helped fuel some of the rumors, because why is he coming back right now? What's the rush? Like we said, your matter is nowhere near conclusion. There is I think next week, there is what they call a case management hearing. And that's where the court decides and lawyers decide, like, okay, we need a week for this trial. This is the evidence. So they kind of have to plan how the trial will work out, just for time management and resource management and that sort of thing. So a lot of people are surprised that he's returning. I'm not. I think if you know how the mind works for certain individuals, there should be no surprise here. Perla is wondering, why is this government afraid to be voted out? Are they the only ones we have in command? Well, they're certainly not the only ones, Perla. And I think we need to start having a very good look at some viable candidates coming up for the next election who've not been given an opportunity to serve this country. Why do we keep recycling politicians? It's the $1 million question in this country. There are politicians who've been in political office. The average tenure is like 25 years. Why? This is not a lifetime appointment, and it shouldn't be. And there are those of you who keep voting for the same people over and over again, and every single time you complain about the end results and you complain about what's happening. So my question is, why are you complaining? You keep voting them in. I think last time was the biggest sweep that we saw in a very long time, probably since we removed almost everybody in the UDP CDP, with the exception of the ones in West Bay, because West Bayers, they seem to be staunch CDP supporters no matter what. It's like a Trump situation: kill somebody, assault somebody, whatever. And West Bay is still like, we're here for you, man. We're here for you. Their thinking is nobody's perfect. Every 4 years, nobody's perfect. All right. So Mr. Bush also said that the rumors are not true. He's going to stick with the devil that he knows instead of getting in bed with some other devils. And, there was a petition in circulation that kind of kickstarted this rumor, in my opinion. And that petition had sought for the other members of the LA to bring a vote of no confidence against the government. Now, I don't even know how well that petition is doing, because I haven't really looked at it. To be honest, the petition was confusing in that it talked about a vote of no confidence, but I don't know if they've since amended it. But initially, it made no mention of who the vote of no confidence was actually against. So I'm thinking, is this petition about a vote of no confidence against the governor? Like, it was just really bizarre. So I'm just trying to see if I can pull up the petition again. But yes, it's one of those things where we're kind of like, okay, good folks, what's going on here? Nothing would surprise me in the world of politics, though. It really wouldn't surprise me. It's not the first time that we've had a coup. And it's not the first time that Juliana has been part of a coup against her government. She was actually a UDP member when she sat with people in opposition. And that coup was in relation to, actually, she's been part of 2 coups, as my memory recalls, because she was part of the one with against what's his name, Kurt Tibbetts. I'm pretty sure Juliana was a serving member then, because she said she's been in since, is it 1996? 1996 was the year that I returned to the Cayman Islands. So yes, this happened while I was here, because before I returned, I wasn't following anything that was going on in Cayman. I came back thinking Cayman was the peaceful little sleepy island that I had left some 15 years ago, where it was like kumbaya, everybody got along and everybody loved everyone. And then I came back into the world of politics in particular, and in the world of the employment field. And I was like, whoa, what is going on here? Crazy. So my apologies. This petition was on Sunday. Let's see how many signatures they have now. So they have 434 signatures, not very much. And it says, my elected politician support opposition leaders' no confidence motion, referendum motion. Now, I don't know of the opposition leader actually bringing a no confidence motion. So I think, again, this is where the lines get blurred here. But maybe this person who started the petition, or this is Dr. Linda McPhail who started the petition, they say that we the people, we the voters of the Cayman Islands can stop the passage of the new domestic partnership bill by the United Kingdom in September 2020 by signing this petition to direct your politician to support the opposition leader filing a motion of no confidence, which will cause the current path, His Excellency Governor Martin Roper, to stop any notion to force this bill into law while the Cayman Islands government puts this matter to referendum vote. Now, here's the thing. The organizer of this petition has changed, because it was actually originally someone called Priscilla Powery, and I don't know who Priscilla Powery is, but I know for a fact initially this was not Dr. Linda, because someone said to me on Sunday when the petition was circulating, who's doing this? And I went back and specifically looked at it, and I saw the name Priscilla Powery. So how do we go from Priscilla Powery to this? I have no idea. That's a little weird. That is really bizarre. So maybe Priscilla started to get some heat for being the organizer and she's come off. Having said that, there's not a whole lot of support for this petition. Put it this way, the face mask petition has gotten probably twice as many votes as this. So maybe they don't have the support in the community that they really think. So again, they wanted to support the leader of the opposition prior to August the 31st, or as soon as practical afterwards, to file in the Legislative Assembly of the Cayman Islands a motion of no confidence to give sufficient time for the Cayman Islands government to properly educate and engage the public on all alternatives available in the matter of future legal obligations and social ramifications resulting from His Excellency's forced enactment of the proposed domestic partnership bill, with the 11 accompanied laws intended to be revised into law. How much time do you people need? May I just ask the question quite honestly? It's been discussed for a very long time. How much more time would you like us to give you to wrap your heads around the situation? I mean, come on now. I shared with you guys yesterday when I did the sort of midday breaking news on how 5 years ago on my personal page, I was posting about this issue of the LGBT community. So I want to know, 5 years in, how much more time do people need? Good morning, beautiful Sue. How do they allow him back in to be Speaker of the House after what he did and the case isn't over? Well, here's how. Because the government are a bunch of that. And so as a result of them having no backbone, they pretty much need him. This is how, let me explain to you guys what's going on here. This is how close of a margin this government had to formulate a government. They just made it by 1. So that's why anytime they bring a motion or they do anything and they want it to pass, they either better have the support of people in the opposition, or they better make sure every member of their government shows up, because it will not pass. So they do not have technically they have a majority, but their majority is by the slimmest possible margin. So they need McKeeva, and they need Captain Eugene. And do you not remember, Sue, the horse trading that went on after the last election? And it is a result of that horse trading that we now have this unity government. That's what they're calling themselves, this coalition government that was a combination of CDP and Mr. Bush and some independents. So Tara, as far as I know, is supposed to still be an independent member. Austin Harris, as far as I know, is supposed to still be an independent member. Dwayne Seymour was an independent member at the time of election. Now, I think some of these people have secretly joined the PPM, because I heard that Juliana is actually a PPM member, and I wish for her to perhaps clarify that rumor for us, because we would love to know if that's the case. I don't know what Tara's position is at the moment, but good morning to Alric. Yes, so Catherine, yes, it's Dr. Linda Macfield who started the petition. And Dr. Linda Macfield has made it very clear that she is against the, well, she's obviously against same-sex marriages, and she's also against the domestic partnership bill. So I don't know what else they thought would have worked in terms of, what the government, what the courts have said in terms of fixing this. How are they going to fix it? What's their definition of fixing it? This circular conversation where we get nowhere and we just keep going in circles is not fixing it. It's about having an endless dialogue on something, whilst in the meantime, we need to just get on with the program. So, someone just asked, is it necessary for the FCO to have a full-time presence in the Cayman Islands? With the type of technology that exists today, many of the things that the governor's office is responsible for can be done remotely. Bruce posted that. Well, Bruce, I would not hold my breath for any other option, especially with situations like this, with the domestic partnership bill. This is a perfect example of why the UK is saying to themselves, oh, we will not be changing the current situation anytime soon. Think about it from their perspective. The courts have said, fix something. And the people of the Cayman Islands are not even prepared to do that. We're prepared to ignore a court order. That would be like, listen, as much as I'm in court and as much as I am, back and forth, there are certain things that the court tells me to do, but if I don't do it, I'm going to jail. And so I have to do it. I mean, I've told you guys this numerous times. I am not built for prison life by no stretch of the imagination. I love my own bed and I love my food when I want it and how I want it and the whole 9 yards, right? So, we've all jokingly said that I'm getting ready to go come October, but the truth of the matter is I'm not planning on going anywhere. I am going to be right here. So if the government gets a directive from the courts and the government ignores it, number one, what message does that send about the rule of law in the Cayman Islands, that the court can say you better do something, and then you basically flip on the bird and say, nope, we're not going to do it. So what's the message there? And additionally, What message does it send, not just to the courts, but to all of the Cayman Islands, the people of the Cayman Islands? Well, if my government can ignore the laws and what the court says, why can't I? That's what I would want to know next. Why is there a different standard of operation? How does that work exactly? That doesn't sound quite fair to me. So that is certainly one consideration. And the governor's office said, listen, you cannot have a court tell you that you're in contravention of your constitution and you take that matter lightly and just simply ignore it. Somehow that just does not work. So Perla says, listen, if you're on the job, how many chances do you get? Well, politicians keep getting chances because the people allow it to happen. We as a country have the most unbelievable standards. You know, like I said yesterday, and I don't want to beat this dead horse because I really feel like I have said as most as I can say, but I will continue to support the LGBT community. But we want to pick and choose where that morality lies. So the only issue that we seem to have a moral compass about is this particular topic, the LGBT, domestic partnership, same-sex marriages. Everything else, Perla, wife beating, beating of women in public, cheating on your wives, being caught cheating on your wives, all these things are okay, right? Everything else is okay. Child molesters, which we have some in the Legislative Assembly. They go around groping men's private parts, having sex with underage boys who have spoken to me directly about the abuse that they've sustained at the hands of elected members of the Legislative Assembly. And this was way before Cayman Mall Road. This was in private conversations. There'd be no reason for these guys to be lying about how they were abused as children and how that has impacted their entire lives by some of these same people that we're voting in. And believe me, if I know it, some of the same people that are voting for them know it, and they simply don't care because their moral compass doesn't include any of those things. Their moral compass does not include being concerned about crime in this country, or even when their own family members are out there murdering people, raping people, etc. They will never speak out about any of those issues. But heaven forbid, somebody is a lesbian or somebody's bisexual, they got a problem. So Perla, you know, we really are a country that needs to take a good close look at our so-called Christian values, because the same people thumping their Bible talking about Christian values are often the same ones engaged in some of the most disgusting and despicable behavior. Good morning to Alric, Catherine, Edith. That's the million-dollar question. How do people expect to get different results when they vote the same people in and day out? Alice is suggesting a 2-term limit. And she's encouraging the youth of Cayman to get out there and vote. And listen, some of the people that I was actually having dinner with last night, one of the discussions that came up was the importance of the youth vote. But everybody's vote counts, no matter how old you are, folks. If you're 19, if you're 20, if you're 55, even if you're 100, if you have special needs where you can't get out to vote, let people know. If you're overseas, make sure you get your ballots in early. You can vote by mail. You got mail-in ballots, available to you. They can do mobile voting. So if you're shut in for some reason, you're in a wheelchair or something else that makes it difficult for you to get out, you can still vote. Make your plans early, contact the elections office. And if you have people in your household who are not registered to vote, we need to have Alric, Pay attention now. I'm giving you an idea for free. We need to have a voters registration drive right here in CMR. Let's take it to the streets, folks. Let's get out there. We need to get this done. Let us encourage every member of our household who is eligible to vote. And sometimes people don't even know about their eligibility. So you might be eligible and you're not sure. Let's find out. And if you are eligible to vote, let's get you registered. So come election time, if you see a candidate that is worth your vote, and trust me, your vote has to be more than the value of a refrigerator, a truckload of marl, or a couple dollars in your pocket. Your vote has to look at the sustainability of this country with the standard of living that we would like to have, the standard of education that we would like to have for our children. Next week, we're going to talk about the educational system in this country, public education, which apparently is in a dismal situation based on the numbers and is failing our children. Every single education minister for the past 20 or 25 years needs to be held accountable for why we continue to have a failing system. And the so-called improvements are so slight and minuscule that they're nothing really that we should be celebrating. What's going on? Who's the chief officer for education? Time for some heads to roll, folks. People need to be out of their jobs if they can't do their jobs correctly. But you know how it works in the civil service? We don't fire anybody. We promote them. When they're incompetent, Perla, and they're not doing their jobs, or when questions arise about, whether they're being dishonest with contracts and forging. Remember, there was an education minister who actually changed a report. Don't forget this, folks. She changed a report saying how bad government was doing. So government pays these high-priced consultants to generate reports, and then we turn around when they provide the reports and the reports don't say what we want it to say, or it makes us look bad, we change it. Folks, if that was me, I would have been in prison because she admitted to changing it, right? I mean, they dragged me to court. Minister of Education Tara Rivers and her counselor, Winston Connolly, lodged a police complaint against me for allegedly issuing certificates, which they claim shouldn't have been issued. The judge threw it out. He instructed the jury to throw it out because their legal arguments made no sense. I was the only one who could issue the certificate. So the judge was like, what are you talking about? Okay. I get dragged to court for that. My name is impacted. My business name is impacted. But we had a chief officer in the government getting paid a government salary. And she took an education report. I mean, you guys have short memories here. And she changed that report to say something completely different. That's a crime. And what happened to her? She got moved from education and promoted into the office of dealing with the centennial celebrations or some foolishness. When you're a civil servant and you're a senior civil servant, that's the standard of what happens to you. You do not get fired. Shocking, isn't it? And we wonder why we have a failing education system. You can't even take honest criticism, independent criticism. No. You would rather doctor a report, and then the people do nothing about it. Alouette gives us some interesting numbers. There are about 5,000 people not registered to vote, many of them under the age of 45. Some groups, including Amplify Cayman, are helping people to register to vote. 5,000 people. Hello. If you're out there and you're eligible and you're in that 5,000, by all means, get on it. Do it. I mean, come on. That is a lot of people. So I've got a video that I wanted to share from Alric, but unfortunately the length of the video is a little bit of an issue for me to pull it in here. So I will post it on the Facebook page a little bit later on. I want you guys to check out some of the things that Alric has been doing, because Alric, in my opinion, is a breath of fresh air. Good morning, Debbie. Sue says she remembers that mess that I'm referring to. And it's like when certain people get into government, they just do the most in terms of, you know, not really caring about what they should be focused on. So they're involved in so many other scandals and stuff within government. Trust me, government can have some serious scandals. Who is sleeping with who and what this one? And it's like, how do you have time to focus on running your portfolio as a chief officer if you're screwing everybody in your ministry? Or you're involved in all of these salacious affairs with other people? And so sometimes people get moved and we're like, well, why did this person get moved? There's a backstory there. And there's a reason why, because they're distracting everyone in their ministry with their sexing behavior. Perla, they're making it look like we're not a Christian community or Christian country. So what are we then? Well, I think we're a country of hypocrites, if we needed to be honest, Perla. That's what we are. We're pretend Christians. We want to be Christians one day of the week. We want to be Christians that can hate other people. We want to be Christians that can be crabs in the bucket, that can pull people down, don't want to promote our own, keep our own out of jobs, all of these things that are non-Christian like, we want to be involved in, but then say when it comes to the LGBT community that we are Christians. Candy says that I think Candy is a she, I'm sorry if you're not, that she's actually looking forward to next week's topic. We're going to go there, Candy, because again, this is called the cold hard truth, and we need to look at topics like education. Jake says, take the fridge, truck of marrow, money, and then vote against them. They shouldn't be trying to buy votes like they buy women. Oops. Alec just spilled some tea. Did you guys see how how Jake just spilled that tea? Yes, they're out there buying women too, and they're buying your votes as well. Thank you for that honesty, Jake. Bring it on, folks. Let's be honest. Alric. Now, you know, listen, we can start the CMR voting drive anytime you are ready, my friend. Let us get on it and do it. We need time to get organized. I've got a sponsor already who is willing to assist with sponsoring the venue. So let's just pick a venue, advertise and market it, and get out there, and let's just get it done. Let's go to the people where they are at. I'm all about that, Alric. We will help people get registered because we want no excuses for the changes that definitely need to come into the next election. And a lot of people need to be voted out if you want the God's honest truth. And we will be getting there about which ones, in my opinion, need to go. Don't worry. This will be one media house that we're not going to cut any corners. We will take a position on some of these candidates. And Olivia says that she's in the 5,000 and it makes no sense to vote. Olivia, no. You can make a difference. Olivia, listen to me. I want you to, come on now. You see me. I'm seeing you and I want you to see me and listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Last time, the people were displeased with the PPM. They managed to remove 3 ministers. If a portion of those 5,000 persons had voted, do you know how many more we could have removed? Like maybe right now we wouldn't even have the PPM in government had we removed Alden McLaughlin. Think about it. Had we not voted in David White, had we not voted in Barbara Connolly, we could have had a very different government. People like Jonathan Piercy might have been a good option to put into elected office. People like Kathy Wilkes in West Bay could have shaken up things in West Bay a little bit. And Olivia, Kathy only lost by 90 votes. There are some districts that the margin was even tighter than that. 15 votes, 9 votes. I mean, it was ridiculously tight. So what I'm saying to you, Olivia, is you could be one of those 9 people that make a difference. So never say that it makes no sense to vote. I understand your frustrations because I have it sometimes myself. But the only way that we can affect change is by putting different people in there and giving them an opportunity to do what they say that they can do. And the truth of the matter is, it's like someone applies for a job. They sound good during the job interview. Their credentials look good. But there are times that you don't honestly know how they're going to perform until they get in there. You know? And then when they get in there and you see their performance, you're like, not quite what I wanted. Vote their asses out. Simple. And you also need to put people in position who are prepared to work together. You cannot get anything done in the Legislative Assembly, which requires a collective vote, if you are the Lone Ranger, right? This isn't about any one person. You've got to be able to set aside your egos and get on with the work of representing the people of the Cayman Islands. And so in order to make that happen, you know, Anne says every vote counts. I agree. In order to make that happen, we need to ensure that you are registered to vote. So Olivia, I want you to contact me. I will ensure, I don't even know where you live or what district you're in. I want you to ensure that you are at the very minimum registered to vote. And then if you see a candidate you like, you're ready to go and put your tick, your X right next to their name. Perla wants to talk about Michael Miles. Now listen, we need to talk about Michael, but I'm trying to trace Michael down a little bit. I need to have a conversation with Michael first, but as with all candidates, we have an open policy in this show that they can all come on and they can all enjoy themselves and have a direct conversation with the people. So whether you're PPM, CDP, undecided, something in between, and independent, this is the people's platform. And if the people want to hear from you, Michael, Perla's saying she wants to hear from you, by all means, come on, message me. I'm the easiest person in the world to find because everybody's got my WhatsApp number, which by the way, just in case, I'm going to scroll it across the screen. There it is. There should be absolutely no reason why anyone cannot contact me. WhatsApp 324-1612. Kristen is agreeing and saying, why do you think that? Why do you think your vote doesn't count? The margin of victory, as I have just said, is so close in this country. It can literally make the difference between one vote can make the difference between someone winning and someone losing. So Tracy's of the opinion that a lot of people don't want to register to vote for fear of being called to jury duty. Is it that bad? I mean, I've never been called to jury duty, interestingly enough, and I've been registered to vote from when I came back in 1996. So I don't know who they're calling for jury duty, but they've never called me. And to be honest, now I think I fall into the category of people that they can't call. Because do you know that there's certain people in the community, such as ministers of religion and lawyers and stuff, who are not eligible for jury duty? They are exempt by law. Yeah. And I believe, don't quote me on this because I could be wrong, but I do believe the media also falls into that category. So I bet you, listen, they want to argue that I'm not media, but I bet you for the purposes of that, they're going to define me as media. How about them cookies? You see how them cookies are going to crumble? But I've always wondered why I was never called for jury duty before. I mean, they've had 20 years to do it. Why not? And I would love to sit in some of these juries, my dear child. So people are wondering, Olivia, why do you think it makes no sense to vote? Yeah, I think, listen, vote, 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 and vote. Alice sympathizes with Olivia. She says, I understand. Because she was like that, never voted for years because of watching people. And she said, to be honest, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your children. Yes, Alice, that's the spirit. Our future. Absolutely, Alice. I love the way you're thinking, girl. Sylvana says, good morning. This is just the damn truth. Well, we call it the hard, cold truth, but it could be the damn truth too. Olivia says, I went to a political representative for help and he wants some you know what before he can help me. What? Which political representative was that, girl? I hope that wasn't a previous candidate for prospect because we know his reputation in that regard. He'll help you as a woman if you flash your boobs for $1,000 or whatever else he wants you to do, sexual favors. But what other politician is out there? Well, he actually wasn't ever elected, to be very clear. Wannabe politician. But this is a standard that we have in this country, folks. I'm telling you. Nastiness. But Olivia, do not allow one single politician to, take away your right and mess up your head to the point where you think they're all like that. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination. Now, they all got issues to some extent. Because when I think about it, if we eliminate the white beaters, the child molesters, the adulterers, the ones who take a 10% skim off the top of every contract that they push through government, who would be left? Wow. The list would be kind of short. Could count them on probably one hand. However, do not let that dissuade you from knowing that if we only have 5 decent ones in there, the possibility of getting 5 more decent ones out in there and getting the others out, that is doable. We can do it. Yeah, we can do it, girl. Olivia Alric is saying to WhatsApp him 926-1688. Kristen says that voting is not a privilege, it's a responsibility, especially when so few have the power to do so. Less than 28,000 voters decide the representation for nearly 66,000 people. And let me tell you, Kristen, you make a good point. I'm going to just address this for a second. Let me just say this. That very point, Kristen, is one of the reasons why people need to be more responsible with their voting. And I suspect the UK government is also looking at this situation and thinking to themselves, why is the country being controlled and run by such a minority of individuals, especially when that minority is hell-bent on preventing others from having legal rights in this country? Because that same 28,000 people, even if it is 10% of them or 15% or 28% of them who are trying to block the domestic partnership bill, because I know it's not everyone, those people are controlling the lives of everybody else that lives in this country. And how fair is that? Talk about a monopoly. Talk about the friggin' mafia here. And so there is an argument based on what Kristen has just said, right? About the possibility of others from the outside or people who've been here a long time saying, we need to change this. We need wider representation. So I'm telling you, I agree with Kristen, folks. It's not a whole lot of people out there deciding what happens in this country. And I suggest you all get on board. Make your vote count, because you may find in short order a shifting of how that will even work. Sylvana wants to talk about the cost of living. We have done so before, but we can certainly put that on the agenda here again shortly. In fact, Alric is a candidate for Georgetown South. And as with all candidates, I invite him to come and to talk about some of these topics. Alric, let's talk about the cost of living. Let's talk about the dismal state of our educational system. Let's talk about why people are not getting registered to vote and the obvious importance of that. I mean, listen, Alric is here every day anyway, listening to the live stream, contributing in some way. So maybe we need to have like an Alric hour where once a week he comes on and just talks to the people directly. Alric, you got my digits, my friend. Let's talk. Perla says that likewise, she's actually never been called for jury duty. Perla, I know a lot of people who haven't, so I don't even know how the spread for jury duty works. And then I hear some people saying they're being called more than once. So God knows how the court's office has that organized. Maybe they need to reorganize that as well. Morna says, I believe in voting because I have 12 grandkids, 1 great-grand, and that's why I choose to vote and make my vote be heard, my voice be heard. Good for you. Isadora says, what a horrible experience that Olivia had to go through. And it is sad. Hi, Andy. But these are the things, Isadora, again, that we don't want to talk about in this community. How, you know, it's just disgusting. But it appears to be the case that we're okay ignoring those things about political candidates and looking the other way, all in the name of what? Because we like them? They're likable? How likable can a person be when they're going around requesting sexual favors to help people? Listen to me. I'm just disgusted by the very thought. And by and large, it's the male politicians that do it. I've never heard of a female politician doing that, but who knows? I don't know. But I think to myself on a daily basis, yesterday I was dealing with 3 or 4 different matters. One was related to NAU, a single mom who's practically homeless, trying to get her some assistance to see what's going on with NAU. I have received a message about someone on the parole board who's reaching out to me. I'm going to try to see what I can find out about that situation. I have another mom who her son is in one of the homes, and she has some concerns about his treatment in the government homes. And there was something else yesterday that I was assisting someone with, right? And I think to myself, every single day I wake up and I make myself available. I had a question come in late last night, actually, about 9 o'clock at night, about the who can come in under the present quarantining situation. And I respond to people and I answer these questions. Sometimes I swear like I should be government information services because the types of questions that people ask me, right? But no problem. If I know the information or if I can find out, I will go out of my way and get the information. And I think to myself, my God, what would ever make me think that someone comes to me for help? People are desperate. And you're probably, if you need help with paying your rent, a job, or anything else, you're probably at your lowest. You know what I'm saying? Psychologically, it takes a lot for the average person to say that they even need help. And then to have someone tell you that they will help you if you give them sex or some sort of sexual favor, it just blows my mind, honestly, to a different level. It is absolutely disgusting. So we need to know who these so-called politicians are. Olivia, you know who that one is that said that to you. And that's the kind of person that you never give a vote to, honestly. That's the kind of person that needs to be voted out of the Legislative Assembly. Andy, thank you for tuning in. Edith says every vote makes a big difference. And let's look at it this way. I love these examples because they make logical sense. What if your parents decided that one more child would not matter? You may not have been born. Do you think that by those parents having that one more child counted to those parents' community and country as a whole, and therefore your one vote is very important when the time comes to go out and vote? Good morning, beautiful Linda. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for tuning in from Cayman Brac. Louis says they should be ousted. I agree. By the way, Lisa, I'm still working on my BRAC visit. I've not given up on the idea. This week has been a little bit hectic, but I am reaching out to some businesses in the BRAC to see if we can do like a whole sponsored CMR show. One of the things I want to do if I come to the BRAC is to actually highlight a lot of things that are happening in the BRAC, as well as highlight some local businesses and stuff like that as well. So bear with me. Sue, supporting the right to vote. Good morning, Louis. Happy Friday, Fab Friday to you. And good morning, Yvonne. So let's talk about what else is going on in the Cayman Islands, other than the political shindigging. Sometimes I make up these words like shindigging. So, a couple of things here. Our condolences are going out today to the family members of a toddler who unfortunately passed away yesterday by drowning. My sources indicate that the child was being watched by a grandmother. And I don't know what happened, but the child must have got into some sort of trouble and passed away. 3 years old, my God. I have a 4-year-old. And I can only imagine the pain that this family must be experiencing after yesterday morning. It happened in the morning after 8 o'clock. We had heard about it earlier in the day, and we did mention it in our afternoon breaking news podcast. And so I don't know who this family is, but I just want to extend my sincere condolences to the family, because there's probably nothing worse in the world than to lose a child, especially so young, hasn't even had an opportunity to really live life yet, 3 years old. Folks, pools in Cayman, we've lost a number of persons drowning in swimming pools. Listen, you can drown in the most minuscule amount of water, right? And so don't take having your children around water for a joke. If you have someone supervising your child when they're around water, they cannot ever take their eye off of the child, because it literally takes a couple seconds. That's it. A child goes under and they're not coming back up. Absolutely horrific. Please, folks, pay attention to your children when they're around water. Sometimes kids can swim and they're playing in the pool and they slip and fall or something happens. And if you're going to watch a child, make sure that you can swim, and you can swim well enough to rescue them if need be. I don't care how well you think a child can swim or how many lessons you have set them to. I think that all children, even in a swimming pool, need to have on a flotation device. Now, I know it's not as much fun because it prevents you from diving and doing certain things, but you probably don't want your kids to be diving into the pool anyway, because it doesn't take much for a kid to accidentally dive too far in or slip when they're trying to dive and hurt themselves. So caution, an abundance of caution. No one is blaming anybody, because I'm sure this grandmother, it's happened with helpers. We've had cases before where a child and the grandparent watching the child, grandmother, have both drowned. There was a couple years ago when that happened. Multiple people drowned at the same time within a family. And you can just imagine the horrific nature of trying to bury one or two children plus your grandmother. It's like, oh my God, to have such a loss. So our condolences to the family. There are people out there who offer swimming lessons. Remember last week, we were talking about Sky Blue Aquatics offering a swimming assessment for caregivers. So if you're a caregiver, whether that's your professional job or you just a granny who's a caregiver, reach out to Sky Blue Aquatics. They will do a free assessment of you to see how well you can swim. Because if you can't swim that well, and they look at different things, they have a whole analysis sheet of the things they'll be looking at, then you probably should not be left alone with kids who have access to a pool. And most pools are not really all that deep in terms of 6 feet, but you don't need 6 feet of water for a 3-year-old to drown. Listen, a 3-year-old can drown in the bathtub. You know what I'm saying? Children can actually get, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I've known this for a really long time, that children can actually drown what they call dry drowning. Do you guys know what that is? For many, many years, I've heard about this. I'm actually going to look this up, because I think a lot of people don't know what dry drowning is. And you need to know, you need to understand what it is. And according to researchers, it takes 2 milliliters of water per kilogram of body weight. So if you have a light child, that's not a lot of water. So what they call dry drown. Now, what is dry drowning? Basically, the child gets water and fluid in the lungs, and they can do it from being in the pool or being in the bathtub. So it's not a situation where they went under and they drowned. They just get enough fluid inside of them, and they can drown hours later after the fact. Dry drowning and secondary drowning. And sometimes you hear about kids dying and you're like, well, what happened? The parents can't pinpoint exactly what has happened. And it's very easy, apparently, to do. They could be splashing in the ocean, swimming or playing in the pool, or even the bathtub. And this can happen. And it's not the kind of drowning that happens immediately. Now, folks, I'm looking out my window because it looks like a hurricane has just hit Cayman. The clouds are black out there, and the wind is blowing heavily, and we're getting quite a bit of rain. But you know what? I think I'm supposed to go out at some point today because I'm supposed to collect some files from legal. But gee, in this weather, I might just be staying home most of the day. I'm going to order delivery. You know, during COVID, we were all about the delivery life. And today, based on this weather, I am not going out in this anytime soon. I mean, the sheets, like this looks like a Cat 1 hurricane outside right now. The sheets of water going across my neighbor's roof. It looks crazy out there. So, I digress, but I think dry drowning is something that we all need to know about. So basically, water gets into a child's airways, and prevents them from breathing properly. It can happen, like I said, in the bathtub. You know, kids love to splash around in the bathtub. Sometimes kids drink water when they're in the bathtub. Sometimes it can happen just from them getting water in their mouth or getting dunked. So you know how kids, you take kids out and they love to dunk each other. So this is a condition that can be fatal. And so one of the things that's important with dry drowning is the quicker you notice the symptoms and recognize it for what it is, the quicker you can get your child the medical help that they need. So there are a lot of complications that can come out as a result of this. So anytime water gets into your lungs, and we know this because we have heard of fluid in the lungs. And it's a very dangerous situation. All right, so again, you know, be aware, parents, of having your children not just at pools, but even in the bathtub. What can happen if they get water in the lungs. I mean, we've seen adults die from having too much fluid in the lungs. It's a very dangerous condition. And fluid buildup in the lungs can be caused by it's like a secondary condition to a lot of illnesses. And if they can't get that under control, your lungs cannot function properly, and you will literally drown in your own fluids. So fluid and water in the lungs can irritate the lungs lining, and you have a fluid buildup, which we know medically is called pulmonary edema. We've heard of it before. So if you notice your child having breathing issues that progressively get worse, take them to the hospital. So although dry drowning is relatively rare, 1 to 2% of all drownings, it is not unheard of. And some of the complications can include coughing, chest pain, trouble breathing, or feeling extremely tired. They may have changes in behavior, such as irritability. You see a difference in their energy level, because that starts to happen when the brain isn't getting enough oxygen because of what's going on. So what you need to do is get medical help immediately. Sometimes the symptoms can improve on their own, but do not take the chance, yeah? Because if a child requires supportive care, so they may need to be put on a ventilator or to have their oxygen levels monitored, a breathing tube, then it is what it is. Prevention is always better than cure. Watch children when they're around water, folks. Don't let them swim alone. If you're at the pool watching a child and you need to get a drink of something, or you need to go get some food or some more sunscreen or whatever, take the child out of the pool with you. Don't leave them poolside, because kids will be like, oh, well, grandma's coming right back. Mommy's coming right back. I'll just jump right in. Yeah, Perla, there is such a thing as dry drowning, and there have been cases of children dying as a result of it. And there are a lot of people who don't know what that is. And they don't know the symptoms to even look for. They think those symptoms are something else. Oh, Lisa is sharing with us that a parent lost 2 of their kids in Jamaica recently, a few weeks ago. Oh, man. So one child got into difficulty and the other child tried to save him, and they both drowned. And this happens a lot. This is why this assessment course at Blue Sky Aquatics, which they do swimming lessons and training, this is so incredibly important what they're offering, because you think you can swim way better than you can. I'm sure of that. And there's certain things like we need to have for an island that is surrounded by water. And recently we did a FOI media request on how many pools we have in the Cayman Islands. We couldn't get an exact figure, but we did get a number that represented, I think, over 7,000 pools. So when a complex or home applies for what do you call it? A permit to put in a pool. Actually, it's not 7,000. Hold on one second. Since 1997, they have in their system 733 pool permits. But they're sure that that's a conservative number, and that there are a number of people who would have had pools before 1997 that didn't get a permit, or maybe some people who've had pools put in since then that didn't go through the procedure of going to planning for a permit. So there's a lot of pools on this island. We're surrounded by water. We are also an island, so people can just go jump in the ocean. Sometimes they are seasoned there are seasoned individuals, seasoned swimmers, who get in the ocean, and because there's a rip current, there's undercurrents, they jump in at a certain angle that's dangerous to them, it puts them in trouble. So even being a seasoned swimmer doesn't guarantee you. We've seen people go out on boats and they've drowned. Sometimes if you get in a boating accident or you've been drinking too much, you don't quite have all of your strength and your faculties. It's very easy to drown. Remember that celebrity girl the other day from that show Glee? She drowned. Luckily, she was able to save her 4-year-old son. And it looks like what happened to her is she actually started treading water because the boat wasn't anchored. I don't know if she forgot to put the anchor down or what happened, because they said she was pretty familiar with that lake. She'd been there a lot of times. She enjoyed going there swimming and fishing and so on with her son and otherwise. But familiarity sometimes makes us put our guard down. And this can be a very dangerous thing. So the boat wasn't anchored, and I guess there were currents or waves on that river that day. And so she was treading a lot of water just to get back to the boat. And it looks like she just got tired because she's trying to take her son, which it looks like, he's only 4 years old. So it's not like he's going to be a strong swimmer or anything. And she was trying to get her son back to the boat. And her son said that she put him back on the boat and she disappeared into the water. My God, can you imagine? As a child, I'm sure that memory will fade, maybe, because the horrible things in life are the things even as young as 4 that we tend to remember. But maybe that memory will fade. I'm hoping it does for him, because that can't be a good memory to hang on to for the rest of your life. And now this child will grow up without his mom. She was young. She's like in her 30s. Perfect health otherwise. But water can be very dangerous. One of the forces of nature, folks, that you just do not play around with. So Perla, I agree. Even sipping a bit of water, if you choke on it, that can kill you. Edith mentioned that some people have above ground pools, which I don't think require planning approval. That's right. So a bit of sad news in our community this morning, unfortunately. Moving on, we've not heard anything about that car accident yesterday in terms of the individuals. I understood from our Grapevine Mall Road sources that it is a woman who is driving the vehicle. I think it's her parents' vehicle. This is what happened. She managed to hit the light pole. I don't know how this happened, folks, but somehow her collision with the light pole moved the light pole into the street. I mean, whoa. That's crazy, right? And my sources indicated that she left the scene of the accident. So I guess from that perspective, we can comfortably say that she obviously was okay. There was a video in circulation that we did share as well. As a matter of fact, let me bring this video up, because you ever look at a situation and you think to yourself, how the heck did that happen? All right, so let me show you the other picture first. So this one is obviously the light pole. And then I'm going to show you guys the car. So power was out in the eastern districts and Frank Sound area because of this accident. It happened right by Health City, very close to their intersection. So I'm assuming that Health City actually has a generator, but look at this. You know, the big pile of rocks in that vicinity? That is where it happened. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to show you guys the video, because someone was driving by watching this, and they were like, what the heck? Unbelievable. Give me 1 second. Let me just put the video. There's some commentary in the video where they're like, whoa, this is crazy. And so this is bad driving for you, K-Man. Some of you guys need a little bit of help with your driving lessons. Time to renew those driver's tests with the driver's license with a required driver's test as well, I dare say. So let us have a look at this. I'm trying to just pull this up here so we can see it. Give me 1 second here. Sometimes I've got to fiddle with this just a little bit. Okay. So I see the video here, so just give me a quick second. So yeah, this driver, one of my sources said, and I'm going to sell it to you as cheaply as I got it. One of my sources said, Sandy, that accident yesterday. She's always hyping with people's things. And I don't know who she is, but this is what we got. Funny thing is, it's her stepdad's car, and she wasn't supposed to even be driving it. Oops. Stepdad ain't gonna be happy. Her mother drives it to work, and she comes daily and trades cars to make it seem like it's hers. And she's always driving reckless, sickening. So I don't know who she is, but that was the intel that we received. So the video is just queuing up. Here we go, folks. I want you guys to view this.
Oh, the pole. Oo nga, ayan oh. Saan ba dito? See the car there, buds, on the bush? Kaya nga. Shit, I hope it's not ano. That's dangerous, itong pole. Kaya nga eh. Why is this friggin' guy looking? Saan tayo dadaan? I'm gonna follow him. Shit, saan na ano? Shit, paano niya na ano to? Hurry up, baka mag-spark to. Kaya nga, teka, nasan yung kuryente? I'm gonna follow this guy. Saan ba yung hospital? Dumandan pa.
So, folks, did you see that pole? Like, literally, the pole got cut in half and ended up in the middle of the road. And this young lady was fortunate enough to walk away from this accident. Wow. I hope if she is a reckless driver, that she considers amending her ways and get on it in terms of being very thankful that you're alive today. I have seen very few accidents where someone splits a light pole like that. I've never seen a light pole in the middle of the road like that after an accident, to be honest. And to think that someone actually walked away from that is astonishing. Really and truly astonishing. And I guess when it's not your time, it's just not your time. Amazing. Big shout out to some of our corporate sponsors, Burger King, Popeyes, Miracle Brokers. And I want to share this commercial now with you guys from Flow, because I thought this superhero idea, I like it. I like this marketing plan of theirs, a superhero plan. And I think honoring that chicken stayed up there for a little bit too long, folks. I think I was looking at that going, it could be some delicious lunch today. But I think honoring anyone who's a superhero, whether it's your mom, your dad, because sometimes dads are the real superheroes. They're the ones playing the mom role. I think is an amazing, this is an amazing tribute to them. And so Flo is actually giving away tons of prizes to people. You get to, do this superhero contest that they're having. And you can send in why you think someone is a superhero. I love this. I absolutely love it. So let's look at a few of these. They actually had their first couple winners already. So let's have a look at this video.
We're gonna be giving away some fantastic prizes to one lucky winner. Actually, there's more than one, but we're surprising one right now. She's actually in the customer care room thinking that she's sorting out a bill for her daughter, but she's in for a bigger surprise. Let's see what happens.
Your daughter nominated you as her real life superhero, and you won. So we have our superhero bundle for you for a year, a brand new TV, and a brand new phone with some accessories.
Congratulations. So this is your brand new Samsung crystal clear 55-inch TV. And we also hooked you up with some Samsung Gear, free phone, got your headset. We're also gonna give you free internet and TV for a whole entire year, okay?
My mother, she has dedicated her life to ensuring I had a great childhood and upbringing. She worked approximately 26 years at the Marriott Hotel and provided for my siblings and I. Through all the things that I threw at her, she never once made us feel like she wouldn't handle it or couldn't make a way. The definition of a super mom and a strong black woman. She is the cornerstone of our family and a great example of a mother and an incredible grandmother.
Yeah, Mom, make some noise for Mom.
Thank you very much.
Oh, man.
I appreciate it.
So we're gonna surprise this customer. We'll see what happens here and how surprised she is. Her daughter is like already starting to cry. So this is already amazing. Let's see what happens next. Surprise!
You got it! Here's your new phone and some goodies. Your balloons and your brand new TV.
It's all yours. It's all yours.
Mommy. Yeah. Put this on your head. I would love to say that my superhero is my mom, Marilda Kayaso Miller. She has been my rock, and when I felt like giving up on myself, she is always there to push me out of the slum and tell me that I am enough. She believes in my dreams and my talents even more than myself, and when everyone turns their back on me, she's there with open arms. Even if she doesn't get this, I still want the world to know that my mom is the best in the world, and I love her further than the moon and back. She's a strong black woman. Even through her difficulties, she's always helping the community, her church, the family, and her friends. Me having to share her is amazing, and I'm proud to call her my mother. A phenomenal black woman you are, Mom, and I pray that God lengthens your life, that I can give just as much as you have given me, and even more, because you're deserving of it all. So, Mommy, you're my superhero. I love you so much. Oh, sorry. Love you too. You deserve it all. Oh gosh. You are so deserving. You deserve so much, and I just want to say thank you. And you are the best mother that I could ever have. The best in the world.
Yeah, Mom.
Oh, come on. Love you, Mommy.
Now, doesn't that just put you in the mood for a Fab Friday? Thank you so much to Flo, I think, for doing this superhero initiative, and it's giving people an opportunity. Your mom might not win the big screen TV and the goodies that Flo's giving away, but it's giving people the opportunity to think about who is their superhero in their lives and acknowledging them. And I've seen a couple other videos in circulation where people just talk about why someone is their superhero. And you know what? Our moms and aunts and different people in our lives do so much for us. And sometimes we forget to simply say thank you. You know, we have Mother's Day. So there are those who at least that once per year will treat their mom to a little dinner or something. But gosh, your parents, your moms, your whoever's there for you, your superhero, is there every single day. And sometimes they do the most for you your entire life. And it can be a very thankless job. So I love that. And Miss Kayaso, I do know her. And, you know, I think it's well deserved. I'm sure that first mom, I don't know her, but I'm sure hers is well deserved as well. So big, I just love this campaign. And yes, Edith, it was very, very touching. I was getting teary-eyed when I saw how touched these moms were by this very kind gesture. So congratulations to them. And there's more to come. I don't have all the details of how long the campaign will be going on for, so I'm going to try to get some of that information from the marketing team at Flow, and to also find out if you can still do your submissions and how you go about submitting them. So we'll get some details for you. So yeah, try to hook up someone, your superhero, with, listen, a big screen TV, some Samsung gear, and free service for a year. Flow, call me. I could be somebody's superhero. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't necessarily need the big screen TV, although there's room for it. I could find somewhere to put it. But yeah, I'd love to have the superhero plan for a year. Hook it up, Flo. Let me see what you got going on. Just the 200 megs on the internet alone, I'd be clicking. Hello, let's make it happen. Right. So here's a shocker. The show's almost over. That's not the shocker. But did you know, and this is one of the things now going back to politics a little bit, because in Cayman, we are never, ever that far removed from the influences of political decisions, because the trickle down happens really fast when you're this small. But did you know that there are government beaches in Cayman that have water bills in excess of $10,000 per month? Because people are going there and taking a shower. I don't know if they're washing cars. I don't know what they're doing. But we have government-run beach facilities where the water bill is in excess of $10,000 per month. Now tell me why. There has to be a real quick solution for how we can get that under control. There has to be some lock-off mechanism. It's like, if I don't pay my water bill, the water company's coming in, click, shutting it off. Can't we do that for these government facilities? Because there's no reason why overnight any of the public beaches, which are, I mean, I don't know if technically public beaches close at any time, but there's no real reason why a public beach water has to be on 24/7. So we can lock it off at night if people are abusing it. During the day, have lifeguards paroling those facilities. Whatever happened to, what is the thing called? Parks and Recreation. That's the government entity that is supposed to be responsible for the upkeeps of all public parks and public spaces, including grave sites, beaches, and the like. Where is that department and what are they doing? Why the people of the Cayman Islands is footing a $10,000 per month water bill at God knows how many facilities. We're going to FOI this, and we're going to get some more information on how many facilities have that kind of bill. You could pay a security guard to be there 24/7, and his salary wouldn't amount to $10,000 a month, folks. This is why, Olivia, voting is important. Because if they're elected officials that can tell you this information, which they have, Barbara Connolly has shared this, and they have no solution, because the solution is very easy, trust me. If they have no solution for this and they're not putting anything in place and they're allowing government money, which is the people's money, to continually be wasted, and they can't even, what are you electing them for? If they can't even resolve something as simple as this. There are too many elected officials, folks, who are in there right now. I'm going to call them vanity politicians. They're portraying this image and they just want a project to stick their name on it, to get a placard with, oh, this politician opened up this or whatever, and to try to make themselves look good. But they're not really solving any problems that's going to improve the quality of our lives. $10,000 per month, folks. You do the math. That's $120,000 for the year. Do you know how many people, how many of our Caymanian children could get a better education if we were saving that kind of money that could be diverted and put into other meaningful things? But Perla, if that's the case, this is not the solution to do it on the dime of the people. So if you don't have water in your house, I don't know if you guys remember this story, but remember the guy who overstayed? He was even Caymanian. He overstayed for like a year or more. And the way in which he was able to do that is he was actually living on the beach. And he was taking a bath every morning on the beach. I have watched someone, I think he's got some sort of issues though, taking a bath in excess of an hour at a public beach facility. In broad daylight, he was scratching his privates, washing them very well. I must say he was very clean after that hour-long shower. But those are the types of things you just can't permit. So if people do not have access to water and electricity, we need to get those things sorted out. Where are they living? Where they don't have access to these things. And we need to come up with a sensible solution. There has to be a resolution. All right, folks, that's the end of our program for the day. Believe it or not, just like that, boom, it's over. Have a blessed weekend. Please be safe. Have fun. The weather looks like it might be a little bit, we got a system kind of heading our way. So we're watching the tropics because, hey, 'tis the season, folks. We need to watch the tropics very, very carefully right now. Between now and September, this is the heightened portion of it. Thinking of our friends, Alice, thank you so much. She said that she's thinking back to years ago where she had to use the public facility because she had no light and no water to shower, no job. And she did what a mother had to do. And she says that maybe it's even worse now. Well, Alice, situations like that in a country that is supposed to be as wealthy as the Cayman Islands should never be happening. There are mechanisms in place to help people. That's what NAU is there for. People, single moms, married moms, I don't care who you are, parents, families, should not be, even when you're without a job, you should not be homeless. You should not be going to a public beach facility or having to go to a public beach facility just to take a bath or have a shower. We need to fix those systems that are supposed to be helping people. And if we can't fix them, it's time to start firing some civil servants, folks. Get rid of these people who run in government agencies and don't know what the hell they're doing and can't do their jobs. How difficult can it be? How many clients does NAU have that they can't manage their client load? What is the real issue here? Do they need more staff? Well, if you're saving 10 grand a month on water bill at several public beaches, that could more than pay for a couple employees. Folks, be penny wise. It adds up. Thank you, Evelyn. That's it for me, folks. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We'll keep you updated. Today, the political arena seems a little bit quiet, so no coup yet. But if it happens, hopefully we'll be the first to advise you. We're going to be on it. I wish you guys an absolutely gorgeous weekend. And we'll be back here on Monday morning at 7:15. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.